Greetings, everyone. Hello, hello, beloved family. It's such an honor to be with you all today. And yeah, to just share in this space with you all. There is just so much to share, really, so much to share at this time. So much energy, so much that really wants to be shared, that wants to be expressed to support all willing hearts, all those beings who are feeling lost, who are feeling confused, who are just really feeling the turbulence of it all at this time. It is such an intense transformation that we are all going through, and it's truly affecting all of us. And we can feel it in our bodies, we can feel it in our minds, our thought forms, our emotions, and that turbulence can feel just really quite destabilizing at times. And you know, this is the climate of what we're experiencing and what we're moving through. So we are really being catapulted into the higher expression of our authentic selves. And this journey, it really can be quite challenging depending on how much we are in trust and how much we are in surrender. If we're really willing to let go of the old energies and let go of the old identities, or are we afraid of letting it go? Are we afraid of what's coming? Are we afraid of the unknown? And you know, this is something that it really dictates and determines the quality of this experience for all of us in this ascension process. Because if we're not willing to let go and we're holding on to what was, and we're holding on to the old stories and the past and the old identities, if our ego self has over-identified with these constructs and these aspects of our personality and who we actually thought we were in the world, if we're holding on to that and we're not willing to surrender and really trust in the will of God and trust in the higher orchestration of what's really aligning for all of us, if we don't trust in that, and we don't enable ourselves to truly invite in that flow and that guidance, and to really work with the energies that are truly now streaming through our planet, through our bodies, through the cosmos, through the solar system. This is what this huge influx is creating within us. It's really shifting us in to this higher octave, this higher frequency, this higher dimension. And what is that higher dimension within ourselves, that higher expression of our own soul energies? Our soul layers are really coming online as we shift into the next harmonic universe. We're really shifting in to the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional frequencies. And this is a moment where we are really being catapulted and catalyzed into that expression, into that higher soul light and soul essence, as we continue restoring and repairing the true nature of who we are, and really being able to merge that into our bodies, into our physical divine ascension vessels, so that we can animate that light. We can be that pillar to conduce and transduce that energy as these, walking, embodied, grounded beams of light, and really rippling that out to really support our families, to support the collective and many of our friends, and a lot of beings that are feeling lost in the shadow components and feeling lost in just the intensity of it all. And many of us do feel that we are here to honor a certain role, a certain contract, a certain position that we're taking to be of service, which is really just the most divine opportunity and gift. And it's something that, you know, when we do let go and really move past the service to self and the scarcity and the fear and, you know, the inadequacies and the personal agendas, just, you know, when that is integrated, we want nothing else but to serve. That is truly being that conduit of light. And we recognize that we are part of this fractal of one creation source. We are a unified field. And this is what drives us. That driving, motivating force is no longer about just trying to get ahead or meet our own needs or, you know, trying to manipulate the field or manipulate people because we feel depleted in some way. We're missing something. We, you know, we're in some form of lack. So we're trying to exert that imbalance and this force upon the field around us and all the beings around us. But as soon as we surrender all of that to source, we know that we are eternally abundant. We are eternally supported and nurtured and nourished, that there is just no conflict anymore. There's no fight. There's no need for modifying our true essence to try to set in motion some kind of an agenda on a personal level. All our heart wants to do is just serve. We just want to serve, and we wake up and we want to do that because it just feels so expansive and it feels so loving. And these are really the frequencies of this next harmonic universe in these soul layers that we are really awakening and embodying within ourselves. And this is this divine compassion and unity and just supporting the greater whole. You know, and there's so much that wants to come through and so much that I want to speak into today. But I feel before we get into all of it, I just invite you to just settle into your body and just to take a moment here to just connect in with your sacred breath. And just breathing deeply into your body. And just slowing everything down. And just exhaling out the mouth, just releasing anything that is not serving you in this moment. Just finding your still point. Finding your still point within your sacred heart. And feeling the softness and the openness as you breathe deeply into your heart space. Unifying all. And just opening up to receive. Beautiful. Thank you, beloveds. Okay, so I wanted to speak into a little bit about the current ascension climate that we are in, and that we've been in for a number of years and will continue to experience throughout 2023 and 2024, as we are preparing in this sequence of alignments and activations, really moving us closer to this threshold of 2024. And supporting you all in having a deeper level of context. When we understand and we understand and we have that sense of context, it can help us to relax, it can help us to receive, and it can help us to invite in and really work with the energies that are present at this time. When we don't have that context and when we don't understand, we can feel afraid and we can fall out of trust and become more confused and more anxious and perhaps even more depressed and being thrust into the lower frequencies, just because we just truly don't understand what's going on, and we can't see the bigger picture, or like the bigger context of what's transpiring and our role in it and how this is actually serving us. It's actually not something to be afraid of or something to fight or resist. So having this context is so important. And also just being able to feel that you are supported, that you are not alone in this, and that there is so much to be excited about at this time. As long as we can find peace and stillness within the changes that are occurring, it can really support the quality of our experience. This experience can be incredibly enlightening and incredibly blissful and enjoyable, even in the contraction phases, even in the release and the shedding and the deep purging that's happening. It can be a beautiful divine experience of really allowing our human self, the part of us that has been so fractured and fragmented and torn at the deepest soul levels. That process of embodying the light and working with these ascension energies in this current climate can be very it can be a very beautiful process if we're willing to see it from a different perspective. It's all about our perceptual lens of how we're viewing this process. Are we seeing this as something to be afraid of or fearful of, something to worry about and get anxious about? Or are we able to see the bigger context and allow that to support us in just softening and just surrendering and inviting it in and riding the wave and adapting to the energies by truly surrendering and trusting? This is the time for the reemergence of the divine feminine, the Holy Mother, this soft, flexible, adaptive energy where we're riding the flow, where we're going with the flow and we're letting go of needing to know what's going to happen tomorrow, what our lives are going to be like in this overcompensatory rigidity and structure that we've been applying to our lives to give us that false sense of safety and security. Because right now we are attuning to the 0 point, and we are almost being forced, in a way, really pushed to let go. We're on a need to know basis. We're not going to know with the same level of structure and organization in that sort of masculine way that we were doing it before, and really letting go of the attachment to the outcomes and riding this beautiful wave and allowing that to be the wind in our sails, and just self-correcting, just allowing us to align to that that alignment, you know, what feels expansive to us, what feels good in the body, what do we feel that resonance, and just continuing to simplify, continuing to come back to the breath, to come back to the present moment. You know, what feels good for me in this now, what animates me with joy and life force and creative energy, what really makes me feel alive, the passion. This is what we are shifting. You know, our motivation is now what feels us with life force, and what makes us feel so driven in passion and creativity and divine service, not what we have to do because of what was dictated to us in this inverted matrix. You know, how do we modify ourselves to fit into that construct, because it is rapidly changing, it is rapidly dissolving. So coming back to the purity of what truly motivates us, and does that serve the greater collective? Does that serve the divine will? Does that enhance our reality, our lives, and the beings in our lives? Does that support that? Does that support the divine will? And so we are in deep review right now. We are in deep introspective internal time to really calibrate all of this, and to really bear witness to the way that we've been conducting ourselves in the past, and where we are being called now to really focus and apply our life force to the things that truly serve the unified field, that serve in, you know, supporting the greater whole, not just trying to get our own needs met through scarcity and competition, and, you know, feeling that we don't have enough, because we are perpetually and infinitely sustained. And when we know that, and when we can tap into that, when we repair our light body and we feel that transduction of light, and we feel consistently animated and consistently energized, consistently prosperous, we don't have to fight to try to control that. Our ego is integrated, and we can truly let go and start to create the higher potentials and the higher possibilities that are really wanting to come through at this time. And so what's really occurring is through the planetary system, our beloved Gaia, our beloved planet, of which our physical material body is a vehicle. It's a gift of Gaia. It's an extension of the constitution of the components of Gaia's elemental body. So whatever goes on in Gaia goes on in our bodies. It's the micro-macro relationship. And then, of course, through the planet, the stellar system, and then into the macro fields, we are experiencing such a huge influx of plasma light. And plasma is, you know, this divine higher state of water. It's encoded with ascension intelligence, with light codes, and this is very activating. This is very stimulating for our light bodies, for our DNA, our cellular structures, and this is what's really catalyzing our human bodies to repair and to absorb these energies, which are rapidly catalyzing our DNA activation, our DNA healing, our mitochondria, our cells, and what that does is it actually resolves and dissolves density. So we are clearing the heaviness, we are clearing the miasma. This organic light is also making it more clear of the inorganic interference as well, the reversals and the incoherence that may have been impacting us in our light bodies, in our physical bodies, our mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. And so this is a level of disclosure as well, because when there's more light, and when there's more organic quality light accreting through the planet, through the planetary crystalline grid systems, through our light body architecture, and through this alignment that is happening with the galactic core through our sun of our solar system, Andromeda, and this huge streaming, this absolute influx of light, it's going to illuminate the shadow energies. It's going to illuminate the incoherence. And this disclosure is happening within us. We are becoming aware of blind spots that we previously didn't have the capacity or the perceptual lens to be, it wasn't available to us at the level and the degree to which it is now, to see where we are not embodying the higher timelines, where we're not embodying our authentic essence or operating from the higher mind, and those higher perceptions, those powerful spiritual gifts that we have to be able to integrate the lower bodies, to be able to be the parent of the parts of us that are still stuck in our child years because of the stunting, because of the soul trauma that occurred when we were younger, and deeply coiled and contracted our DNA and caused negative belief systems and limiting behaviors and lack of self-worth and all of these different ways in which we have been inhibited from truly being that expansive, multidimensional, authentic expression and essence of who we truly are on a higher level, in a higher sense. And this light is continuing to accrete and is continuing to intensify. There's so much that is going on galactically with, influence from the stellar bodies, and everything is supporting and preparing us for what we're really moving through now in February and into March and April of this closure of the solar alchemical year, and all that is aligning for this 2023 solar alchemical year. So this may feel like turbulence for a lot of you, and a lot of our family are feeling this. We're feeling the volatility of it all, and struggling to find the grounding, struggling to feel that sense of security and stability, because we are moving through the collapse, the dismantling, and the dissolving of the lower particle fields. And by lower particle fields, I just mean first, second, and third dimensions. I mean the first, second, and third chakras. So wherever we're not balanced and integrated within our thoughts, our ego mind, our instinctual body, our unconscious mind, we are going to experience a reemergence of that content, because it needs and it must and it will be integrated and then absorbed and uplifted into the higher frequency spectrum. So 4D, 5D and beyond, we're talking about the heart and moving up into the soul layers. So all of that energy, all of that quanta is starting to be integrated and is facilitating an influx and a boost to really be absorbed into the higher frequencies of our light body, of our 12D ascension vessel. So we're really tapping into these higher energies, and the density is shifting. The physics are shifting, and this is being experienced for all of us through our jobs, through our identities, who we thought we were and the roles that we were playing in this matrix and in this reality. And our relationships as well. There are incredible shifts and changes within the dynamics of relationships. There are a lot of relationship breakdown, and also a lot of new divine unions coming together because the energies are supporting with that unity codex. So wherever we are, experiencing duality and polarity in these polarized fields where we feel separate, where we are still operating from judgment, separation, and criticism, that splits energies, wherever that we are participating in that, and wherever that still exists within ourselves, is coming up for clearing, so that we can actually more effectively align to the unified field. And this is what this influx of plasma light, the trinitized triunified energies, are returning now to our reality, to our being, to our planet. And it's rapidly revealing. It's this huge revelation of where we are still experiencing separation, where we still are participating in the polarity fields, and where consciousness is still split within us. And this simplification, this internal focus that we are all experiencing right now, where we are all to various degrees, but really needing that alone time, really needing that quiet time to process, to be in nature, to spend time away from the distractions, the chaotic realities out there, and the way in which our attention is being basically, being manipulated, where our focus is attempting to be pulled in so many directions to deplete us and to throw us off that center point, off that still point. And this is where we actually reclaiming all of that attention, and we're putting that within, and really working with ourselves, really coming into right relationship with ourselves, and starting to feel like, what do we want to experience at this time? What do we actually feel is our purpose? And what wants to be expressed? If we know that our needs are met, if we can let go of the struggle, and we know that we are nurtured and nourished by mother, supported and protected by father, and this beautiful unified field, that we are this eternal creation. We are, the hierogamic divine creation of sorts. When we truly fundamentally know that, and we can let go of the struggle to try to desperately meet our needs, what is it that actually wants to express through us? And what does Source want to express through our light bodies, and through this sacred vehicle that we have, this sacred vessel? What is it that wants to animate through us when we stop trying to control everything, and we let go of the doubt, and we let go of the anti-self energies of putting ourselves down and feeling that we're not powerful enough, and the self-value starts to stabilize? What is it that wants to birth through us? The higher energies, the unified energies. And coming back to really questioning our reality and our participation in it, and having precise awareness of why we're here. A lot of us don't really have the why. We just feel that we are randomly here, just playing out, karmic baggage, and feeling that we've been condemned to suffer in many ways, and questioning our relationship with source creation, with God. wondering where is our place in all of this? Because we are feeling inundated. Many of us are feeling inundated with that content of all that has not been integrated, all of the shadow body. And this is why it's so important to be able to come back to our internal climate, that environment within ourselves where we just sort of get rid of the distractions, we quieten everything down, we let go of the noise, and we really value that relationship with ourselves, becoming really open and invite in that light, invite in our true soul essence to authentically express through us, through really what feels good for us, what feels like resonance, what wants to create through our bodies, through our talents and our unique gifts, because they are truly different for everybody. And we have this unique opportunity now at this point to really have those gifts made aware. We're really being able to see what those gifts are as they continue to reveal themselves, and we continue to become that embodiment of that higher light. And so this unique opportunity is truly occurring because of this dimensional blending. So when we think about our light bodies and we think about our chakra system, this time-space matrix, it moves in triads. We experience this through triads. So we have 5 harmonic universes, and we have within those 5 harmonic universes 3 frequency fields. So harmonic universe 1 is dimensions 1, 2, and 3. It's our root chakra, our sacral chakra, and our solar plexus. And what we experience when we shift into the second harmonic universe, which is dimensions 4, 5, and 6, the soul layers, our heart chakra, our throat, and our pineal chakra, when we shift into that harmonic universe, there's a thicker membrane between the solar plexus and the heart. Between dimensions 3 and 4, there's a magnetic repulsion zone, and the same thing occurs for 6 and 7 and 9 and 10. So it's almost like there is a barrier or a field or a membrane that is what has been more difficult for us in the past with the energies that have not been as supportive, and this sort of membrane thinning that's occurring right now. So it's basically this opening and this membrane thinning between the dimensions. It's a dimensional blending where, rather than, if you think about the rainbow and all of the distinctive colors of the rainbow, which we know are the color hues are frequency wavelengths, from a slower wavelength to a faster wavelength. When we think about that prism of light, that prism that's coming from white light, and we start to see those distinctive colors and how that represents our chakra system, as we move more and more into the golden age and the ascension, what we're kind of experiencing is more of an aurora borealis. It's a blending, a dimensional blending. And this is giving us profound access to be able to quantum leap, to be able to truly use this window of opportunity to access more of our dimensional gifts, to really bring online more of these higher sensory perceptions, to get our memories back, to really remember who we truly are, remember our soul extensions, our parallel expressions, because we have experienced such deep amnesia. We are living in this reality without our memories. For most of us, we don't remember our childhood before the age of 5, 6, or 7. let alone the thousands of other incarnations that we have running parallel, and all of the intelligence that comes with that. It's, you know, it's due to what's occurred with our DNA, where most of the beings on this planet are operating somewhere between the second and third strand. And our DNA right now, and, you know, as we continue to move through 2023 and 2024 and beyond, is repairing our diamond sun DNA. Our 12-stranded silicate matrix is coming back online. And so we are shifting out of the limitation, the consciousness capping, the DNA tampering, that has limited us to have an experience of the holographic vectors of only the second and third dimension. We have not been able to see more of the complete picture, and to engage with more of the completeness of who we truly are in a multi-dimensional level, in this, you know, this 15th dimensional time-space field, because that's our birthright to, you know, to have access to that. And this is what is becoming available to us as the magnetosphere is thinning, as the membranes are thinning and the veils are lifting, because the magnetosphere is what keeps the magnetics in place, and that creates the thinning of those membranes, the thinning between the solar plexus and the heart, between the ego and the soul layers, the service to self and the service to the collective. And this is creating a quickening effect as well, because that those magnetics keep time in place. So many of you are noticing that there is a quickening feeling of time, that time is really speeding up. And we are just, you know, moving through 7 days. Suddenly it just feels like the blink of an eye, let alone a year. And it just feels like there's just a rapid acceleration and onset of so much that we're doing, and so much that we are achieving in just even one day. There's so much that we can do. And so this is really this opportunity to, through the shifts in the magnetosphere and the thinning of these membranes, the light is really enabling us to see through the veils, to awaken our higher mind and our psychic gifts, and our ability to really see through the eyes of our higher self, where we see through the trickery, we see through the deception, we see through the conditioning and the false narratives that have been molding us, that have been shaping us, and the old identities that have been an extension of that influence. And this is really all dissolving and collapsing, and those old identities and realities are fading, rapidly fading away, like that. The old versions, the old stories, who we thought we were before, even just talking about the past can feel really odd, like what we used to do, you know, a few years ago or 10 years ago. It can start to feel really irrelevant, and to the point where we just feel that there's just not any point in talking about it. It doesn't feel aligned, it doesn't feel relevant. And that's happening because of that collapse of the lower particle fields, the collapse of the lower constructs and the attachments to those identifications, and that version of ourselves that has been influenced through our conditioning, through our cultural conditioning, our societal and parental conditioning. Because what is available now and what we are birthing is so beyond that. It's the authentic creator source that's animating through us now, and it's helping us to parent the lower pain body, to heal our wounds and these these deep, painful experiences of feeling separation from God, of feeling abandonment, of feeling neglect, of feeling misunderstood, the shame, the guilt, the fears and the doubt, all of these energies, we are coming face to face with them now, to be able to really parent those energies, to see through the heart and the eyes of God that we are within ourselves, and that we are perpetually connected to and through, to really be able to support in clearing unhealthy habits, addictions, obsessions, repetitive looping, the ego mind, the negative thought forms, and just all of this autopilot behavior and old architecture, old identities, and way that we've been operating from this old operational system, this inverted matrix that's been hosting this experience that we've been having, leading us up until now. And this beautiful new architecture of this ascension, it's, wow, I'm clearing a lot through my throat. This new architecture, it's not supportive of the old templates. And so this is the crossroads that we're at right now, where the energies that are streaming through the planet, through our bodies, through the galactic core, through our solar system, through all the stellar bodies, these energies are not supporting the old templates. They're not supporting the old stories and the old identities of polarity, of duality, of inauthenticity, where we have been adapting ourselves to fit into this inverted matrix that is not the authentic expression of the true essence of who we really are. And what we see right now is a crossroads. We're at a crossroads where we have a choice to make. Are we willing to let go of these identities? Are we willing to let go of the old narratives, the old stories, what we did in the past, what was done to us, how we suffered? Are we willing to forgive that? And are we willing to invite in the spirits of forgiveness, forgetfulness, unconditional love for ourselves and for all? Or do we feel afraid to let go? Do we feel so over-identified with these constructs? And are we holding on? Because if we are holding on, it means that our ego is not integrated. It means that we are not fully willing and trusting of what's actually occurring here. And that is going to dictate a very chaotic quality of experience moving through 2023 and 2024. It's going to make it very turbulent, because it's like we're trying to hold on to the lower particle fields within us that are actually dissolving. There's no traction there anymore, but we're trying to fight with it because we have been convinced that that is the true self, when it really isn't. And that can be very challenging for a lot of us, because that actually connects to our jobs. It connects to our roles that we have been playing in our relationships, in our communities, in our neighborhoods, in all the different ways that we've been showing up. So that can, in a way, be a collapse of a lot of different components of our lives as human beings. And this is, affecting a lot of our relationships, a lot of our, our occupations, our professions, what we have been doing with our life force, how we have been applying our life force in the old realities. Because this is a reattunement and a realignment, a collapse and a dissolving of all of that, and an invitation to align with the new architecture of unity, the higher frequencies that are available now for us to co-create with, to embody and recognize that on ourselves as we really shift into the second harmonic universe, and we're shifting into 4, 5, and 6D and into the soul layers. So it's really this beautiful way of collectively being a participant in this ascension, of seeing this as, one unified family, aligning with unity consciousness. And wherever we are still trying to create with the old energies, if we're still trying to create through the ego, of trying to be seen, just trying to push any agenda of scarcity, because we, perhaps are trying to be financially secure from a place of fear or doubt or lack or scarcity or poverty consciousness. Even if it's in the spiritual arena, if we're trying to push any of the old energies or create with those old energies that are coming from polarization, from duality or separateness, through manipulation, or through the false identities, wherever anything is not truly authentic, if we are trying to express something that's not authentic on a soul, higher self level, even if it's in the spiritual community, if it's not a full gnosis of what we are trying to convey and how we're trying to serve, there is not embodied coding in it. There is not, there is not a true remembrance of that within us, and it will not have traction, and we will be fighting and becoming very depleted in trying to see that vision be realized, because those energies are not supporting it right now. The energies are supporting unification. And this is really the path of least resistance right now. If we can be okay with the discomfort of the purging, the releases and the different contraction phases that are going to come, that this is the normal part of ascension, the in-breath and the out-breath just pulsing, and as we spiral through time up into the higher frequency octaves. If we can be okay, if we can be comfortable in the discomfort and ride that wave, it really is the wind in our sails. We can stop trying to fight with our boat, our canoe with oars, trying to paddle upstream with that incredible force pushing us in a different direction. So if we can really surrender to that, this is the path of least resistance. It's really supporting us, this cosmic flow of unity. And it's really all about how we can be of service, how we can come back into heart coherence and embodying unity as a conduit of this organic source light creation. Again, this is a flashlight of an incredible revelation of where the distortions are being highlighted, all the attachments that we have, where we have been prioritizing our personal agenda. This is all being illuminated. That disclosure is not just happening on a collective level, it's happening also in an individual level. We are catching ourselves in our own blind spots. We're seeing what we were not previously being able to see before, because those veils are thinning, the magnetics are thinning. And if we do notice something on ourselves where we have been operating from some sort of distortion, it's not a place for us to judge ourselves. It's actually a place to be incredibly compassionate with ourselves and allow ourselves to love ourselves back into coherence, to parent those fears and the doubts and the worries that have generated these adaptations of our personality that have caused us to perhaps be manipulative or not be the true person who we really are. And when we can love those shadows, when we can support ourselves and, guide ourselves back home, this is the way how we show ourselves compassionate, loving awareness, and that witnessing through the eyes of God, through the eyes of Source. Because if we judge, we are just creating more friction. We're creating more polarity. And this is a time where we are letting go of the bywave and moving into this trinitized field of unity. So it's this moment of just really being able to have immense gratitude, kindness and integrity, empathy as well, being really able to have that emotional intelligence, and to be generous, embodying acts of service. And this is really this, as we were talking about the soul layers moving up into the heart, this is this heart expression of unity without that attachment or that dependency on the outcome or what's going to return to us. When we can really truly be of service and be generous and empathic without needing or having any attachment or agenda to how that will play out. This is when the energy is emancipated. This is when we're truly liberated, because there's no strings attached, because we know that we are eternally abundant. We know that we are eternally prosperous, that all of our needs are met, that we are completely held in this beautiful cosmic universe, that we don't need to attach to the outcome. We don't need a dependency on how that's going to play out, because we are eternally held. And this is our true birthright. This is our organic template and blueprint that we are, this is coming back online now. So we are remembering that, and it's helping us to let go of all these other energies and sticky behaviors that are just not getting us anywhere. It's actually just making us suffer even more. And so as we move into this fourth dimension, fifth dimension, throat chakra, we're experiencing this calibration of authentic expression, this articulation of the sound harmonics that are calibrating through our communication. So this is the element of ether that we're moving into, this space holding containment of all the platonic solids, this beautiful geometry of dodecahedron. This is the full spectrum of our integrity, of our empowerment, to be that authentic expression of our divinity. And this is what a lot of us are experiencing through the high heart, this calibration of our voice box through the occipital cup, through the galactic chakras of our high heart, and moving through the golden chalice as we move into the third harmonic universe, which is occurring for many of us as we are shifting into the galactic chakras of our high heart and beyond. And so this is really this, this calibration of our words, of our speech, of how we are talking and communicating with our families, with our friends, with our clients, with all beings who we engage with in our reality. And are we being authentic to Source God? Are we being authentic to ourselves? How is the inner talk? How is that inner conversation? The way that we talk to ourselves, is that benevolent, and is that harmonizing? Is that supportive of us, or are we still putting ourselves to shame and criticizing ourselves? This is ultimately here at the fifth chakra, this movement from surrendering to the divine will, which wants to unify. it wants to trinitize. So this is going to support us in letting go of the service to self, right? And really shifting into that divine will, which actually does come through the fifth dimensional template, and really supports in that embodiment of that higher purpose, that reason that we incarnated here. And this is what so many of us are really tapping into now, what that true purpose is. And many of us are letting go of our jobs, of the old realities. It's becoming so difficult to entertain it anymore. We just don't have the life force to do it. We don't have the stamina to keep on that hamster wheel, to keep waking up every day and pushing against that resistance, because it's getting more and more difficult, and we are being pushed in a new direction. And this is ultimately a very positive thing if we can just trust, if we can really integrate the fears and the lower bodies and just come back to the breath, come back to the present moment, what really feels in resonance for us, and letting everything else go. Everything else will, in time, it will prove itself, why we have to make this shift if we are not aware of it right now. And so this is also a balance of our male and female principles as well. So wherever you notice that within yourself, where you are participating in what maybe feels like, evolution in perhaps the spiritual field, the spiritual communities, but yet which is still polarization, with the male and the female energies, it's important to recognize that we are eternally balanced on an energetic template level. We are not one or the other. We are in fact unified. We are this beautiful hierogamic essence, this sacred marriage of both, sharing this crown of sovereignty. So there is really no, or there is really this catalyzation that's happening now for us to integrate both energies, both gender principles. And wherever we, are still not in right relationship with our masculine, with the father energies, where we're not in right relationship with our female or the mother energies, where we still have false parent constructs from our inner child experience, coming up, this is time for us to parent those energies, to be the Holy Mother, to be the Holy Father that we are templated as, that we have full access to. This is who we truly are, and this is how we can come back into that unification, and start to create these higher realities of divine service, of our higher creativity, our higher joy, our divine essence, our divine unions, when we're meeting our beautiful genetic equal, and really holding that powerful container to transduce source light. This is, one of the most divine architectures that are, present for us to reanimate, to be in this container of divine union. So many of us are in different levels of that, coming into Hieros Gamos. But obviously many of us are preparing for that by coming into unification with ourselves, with our male and our female energies, and really stabilizing the electromagnetic field so that we can become a frequency match in our wholeness, in our balance, in our sacred marriage within ourselves, so that we can become unified and then meet our counterpart, and then co-create just so much divinity, so much trinitized energy, the beautiful creations that come with that, in that accelerated container. And so many of us are aware that we're moving and shifting into this Aquarian age, and this is really held in this element of air, and we're really feeling that. We're really feeling the lightness, in a way, of the spaciness, the air element, the internet technology, blockchain, all these kinds of ways in which this rapid communication and creativity and imagination, all these kinds of themes, humanitarianism, the element of air is really prevalent right now. The way in which we're experiencing time, everything's becoming so rapid, like just the speed of light. All of this is really supporting that shift as we're moving out of the Piscean age. But what we actually, always see, because we have polarity all the way, as I believe, all the way up until 12D. This is a polarity matrix. And so even as we feel that a lot of the world is coming into unification once again, and our families are coming together, we're finding each other, we're co-creating and collaborating, coming back into community, and we're coming back into unity in our heart centers once again. We also have the inversion of that, where we see, the one world order, the one world currency, and the different agendas that are trying to be pushed upon us, the technocratic society. And this is the inversion, this is the reversal of that unified divine source creation. And this is the attempt of manipulation. And, these global energetics are attempting to control consciousness, to perpetuate and continue the enslavement model. So we can see how there is polarity in all levels and layers. So we're at this choice point where we are reclaiming our sovereignty, where we are really, choosing how we want to conduct ourselves, what kind of life do we want to live, and really committing to the higher timelines of the organic energies rather than the inversion, rather than the inorganic energies, and that which is seeking to steer consciousness away from this ascension, basically. And so many of us are experiencing deep ascension symptoms. As the solar energies continue to influx, we're having these geomagnetic storms, the X-class flares, and this creates this rapid frequency increase. So this is going to cause pain and discomfort, because it's a rapid onset and acceleration of a higher frequency light. So if we still have hardness and density, it's going to rapidly create that shift. It's going to rapidly create integration, and that can feel very, very uncomfortable. It can feel, like we are being thrust about, and really, this is the density dropping. This is why we feel the pain and the discomfort, and we, waking up at all sorts of hours, having headaches, having changes in our relationships, in our the way that we've been showing up in the world, in our environment, the fevers and the sweats and the bone pain, all of the different ways in which our DNA is organizing itself now to align to the silicate energies, to the crystalline grids of the earth that are rapidly shifting. So we are accreting more light as we absorb that into our system. But as with anything, we need to release, and we need to allow that release to happen while holding our center by being very, very still, being okay if it's uncomfortable, not getting into the trigger of it. If we're having an emotional reaction or like a trigger to something we've experienced because of the pain that we've lived that hasn't been integrated before, allowing the higher authority of the higher self to hold space and to bear witness to this, to be loving, to be forgiving and compassionate as we purge out all of that discord and dissonance that is just, not supporting, the higher architecture, and allowing that to open and relax and just allow the physical and subtle bodies to release. And then what that does is open capacity for more light to become transduced and embodied. So I always say that, you know, our triggers are basically a key. It's an aperture. You're opening the door, you're turning the lock, and you're opening the door to reveal to yourself, to become aware of what has been hidden in the dark, what has been inhibited and kept in the shadows that we've been not wanting to see, that we've not been, you know, we've not been wanting to see that on our to see that on ourselves because it's been too painful, or we haven't, where we just haven't wanted to address that, where we've been distracting ourselves, where we've been putting our attention somewhere else, or, you know, pushing ourselves to keep up with the momentum of life and denying and inhibiting the effective release and integration of these energies. And so these wounds are, you know, emerging through our triggers and our pain and our emotions. And this is all about just holding love, holding compassionate witnessing for ourselves, being in the pain, not denying it, being in it, but also holding it a coordinate outside of that, where you can hold that witness and just eternally love yourself just as you would, you know, a beautiful, innocent human being in pain. You just see yourself and you wrap yourself in that love until the energy has moved through, until the density has released. And it will come in waves. You know, we may feel that we have released and there's nothing else there, and then it may come back again and we'll be addressing a different layer of it, because everything is very multi-layered. We're very multi-dimensional. And it's important to be aware as well that when we do experience these triggers, that we don't start to, or if we do, we become aware of it when we start, you know, moving into the collapsed heart template, where we start to project, where we start to blame and we start to criticize and judge, you know, people in our external reality or the things in the past. When we do that, we really do collapse at the template level. We start to shift into victim consciousness. And from there, you know, the energetics are just very depleted, and it becomes difficult to become sovereign and empowered, because we're in defensiveness. We're not in autonomy. We're not taking accountability and responsibility to be able to come into neutrality. To really, our neutrality is the most important awareness and embodiment to have right now, because it's unified. It's the 0 point, and we really do access that through breathing and through just coming back into the now moment, the presence, letting go of all of the stories, letting go of all the attachments. And so this is important right now to be self-sufficient, to be sovereign, to let go of the blaming and the criticism and, you know, projecting those energies, and actually going within and bringing within us that eternal access to our multidimensional being, to the God source creator within us, and allowing that to support the soothing of these wounds and these energetic scars. That's really the only way that we can, you know, truly integrate and resolve that. It's not up to anybody else except ourselves. And this is when we reclaim our sovereignty. And it's so important as well for us to really participate in an active daily practice. This is the discipline piece. And I know that this is confusing for many, because discipline has been very inverted in our reality, in our experience of life. We've, you know, associated discipline with something negative, with something difficult, and that we don't want to do, where we've been pushed in a way when we're children to, you know, fulfill a certain image or a certain construct, or just having to push ourselves to fit into this societal model or to please our parents or whatever it might have been. And now as soon as we start, for some of us, when we try to start a daily practice, we can feel that there's such resistance, and we need the willpower, we need the discipline to show up for ourselves every day. So it does require us to recognize the spiritual discipline, the true organic discipline, not the inversion of it, and start to clear those distortions within us and the negative experiences that we have had with the discipline in the past, so that we can actually use it to our advantage. And this is what's really going to shift us from one state of being and reality into a whole nother reality. But it has to be a continued daily practice, showing up for ourselves, being willing to see ourselves through this transformation and pacify the ego, pacify the thought forms that are jeopardizing that and making us feel, that we're wasting our time, or that it's not working, or, all these different ways in which the mind comes in and plants these seeds of doubt to really question us. And this is the unlocking of the higher authority. For many of us, our ego has had the authority for a long time, and this is starting to become integrated and really put in its place, so that we can birth and connect to the higher authority of our higher mind, our higher awareness, and the God that flows through us. And so, beloved family, just invite you to take a moment to just breathe all of this in. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of energy that's moving through. I feel this very, very powerfully in my body. There's a lot of energy coming through. So just allow yourself to breathe. Taking a moment to connect to your body and unify into your sacred heart center. Allowing all that is relevant for you, all that is resonant and resonating for you, to be received. Just taking that which truly aligns for you. And just allowing the different realizations, the different pieces to support you in the highest and most aligned ways that are needed now. Beautiful, beloved beings. It's been such an honor to have all of you join me here today. And just before I sign off, I'm going to share my screen. I just have some beautiful, exciting things that I've been working on lately, and I'd love to just share it with you because, oh, that's not how I share a screen. Because this is how I have been really called to support our family at this time with, offerings of energetic guidance and this way in which I can, truly be of service and guide you at this time of just so much fluctuation and so much turbulence that we're all going through. So in what we were discussing before about having a daily practice, I have created here on the website, you can see in the shop folder, there are some audio transmissions that I've just released. And these are incredibly powerful tools that can really support you in moving through some of the various aspects of ascension on a personal level in the body, in the DNA, in the glandular system, in the mitochondria, in different ways in which we are reclaiming sovereignty. And so there are a number here. I'm actually going to start uploading more and more of these as I receive the guidance on what is most needed now, what's the highest priority for our family. So if you do click on these, you will receive there will be a description of what the meditation is about. So for example, here you can see mitochondria clearing. This is all about the matriarchal lines through our DNA and the mitochondria that we receive through our mother's genetics, which connect us all the way through our grandmother, our great-grandmother, all the way through the feminine matriarchal consciousness and our maternal bloodlines. And this actually does affect both males and females. It's just that the males don't pass it along to their children, but the female will. So this is for both genders, this particular meditation. And this is all about, accessing through your cellular, intracellular structures and moving through to unlock the time capsule through these tiny little mitochondria grains. You access your matriarchal bloodlines and work with the beautiful Holy Mother aquamarine ray to flush this light all the way through the genetic material, through your mother, your grandmother, and basically the feminine blueprint of humanity. So this treatment is really supporting and clearing the dark mother energies, the magnetic reversals and the lunar architecture as well, which has been suppressing the feminine consciousness for thousands of years. And so this is all really about reclaiming the divine feminine, and really supporting with the oppressive agendas and the trauma that's been experienced through our feminine lineages for many, many years. And of course, this damages our mitochondria, damages the ability for us to be energized, to have, this light accreting from within our bodies, as this is how we actually embody our monadic consciousness and our soul layers. It actually comes into the mitochondria and accretes through that. That's why the feminine has been targeted, because it directly affects the ascension process through the embodiment. And then we have the thymus, high heart immune activation as well. So this is really the galactic chakra activation of our 8th and 9th chakras, and opening our diamond lotus crystal heart and our monadic consciousness. And so there is a description there as well. The specific attunements are all described on each meditation. This one is all about clearing heart congestion through soul trauma and grief, repairing the thymus, which is our immune function, and protecting us from pathogens, viruses, and interference. And that's both physical and energetic. And, when we have a lot of heart trauma, we can be more prone to interference in the astral plane and different, I guess, just entity interaction and interference that are playing upon the soul trauma and feeding off of those lower energies of pain and grief. So this is also about blood purification, stabilizing the buffer fields, and really activating the body's spiritual and physical immune functions, calibrating as well the mouth of God, the voice box, our authentic expression of our higher light, and the crystalline lotus heart. And then we also have the 12-strand diamond sun DNA. So this is moving through each and every strand of our DNA to clear holographic overlays, to clear genetic limitation, the old stories, the epigenetic damage that has occurred to our DNA through our family bloodlines, through the different traumas that we've lived in our childhood that coils and contracts the DNA. And then over here we have the etheric heart repair. So this is really repairing the 4D heart and just supporting our family with some of the traumas that we've lived through heart pain and separation, abandonment, neglect, infidelity, disappointment, and betrayal, and where we may still have etheric strings connected, entangling us to the causation timeline or the person in which we were involved with that caused that fracture and fragmentation in the first place. So I will continue to expand this with time. So this is what I have at the moment. So if you do opt in to receive these meditations, they are available individually and they will be sent to your email. So this is a MP3 purchase, and then you will actually own that transmission and you can repeat the process and listen as you are guided by your higher self. And then at the offerings page, in terms of one-on-one sessions, I now have synthesized what I'm offering at this time. So I'm now offering the 8-week energetic awakening journey. So this is the main process that I take most clients through over 2 months. So this is what I am really, really passionate about, and spend, 2 hours a week with 2 hours a week with each being, really uncovering the soul purpose, the divine mission of why you are uniquely here, why you're embodied at this time, where the traumas, the personal pain and limitation is influencing the limitation in your life, shaping your current reality, relationships, and all these different ways of where we have been operating through, addiction and attachments and limiting beliefs. This is all really about diving into the unconscious fields, into the subconscious, as well as into the pain body, clearing out and just resolving, the looping of the adversity, why we keep recreating the same types of experiences that just don't feel good, that don't feel in alignment, that make us feel that we are contained and not in empowerment and not in sovereignty. So we do go through a huge deep dive and huge clearing over the 2-month period. And this is not only inner child work, this is also deep clearing of the DNA through the maternal and paternal lines, so through our mother and father lineages, because a lot of trauma and a lot of limitation can pass on through our DNA, and can remain active in us and keep recreating itself as we live our lives. And we wonder, why do we keep experiencing this limitation? Why do we keep experiencing these physical ailments and issues and challenges? Because a lot of them are not actually original to our current incarnation. They're actually predispositions connected to our family lines, through religious programming, through, the various conditioning that's occurred, addiction and such. So we also move a lot through implant removal, unhooking inorganic interference, which is a very common experience for many of us, especially as awakening beings and light workers. Also hacking to the organic blueprint, anything that might be damaging the auric field, the chakras, the DNA, the light body, and past and parallel life purification. And then ultimately just really repairing and restoring the 12-stranded DNA template, the Kathara grid, and just opening and calibrating all of those stargates so that you can really experience yourself as a multidimensional being, and really elevate out of the limitation and start to really align to, your highest soul mission and your optimum health and well-being. This divine soul purpose and divine joy and creativity and love and unity and all of the reasons that you are here to experience. So this is a 2-month program, and you can register here. If you press book now, you will see an application form. So if you just write and fill out the application form, then I will receive that. And then finally, in the free section on the top right-hand corner, I have the Ascension manual. So this is a free PDF file, which is just a synthesized version of a Ascension guide to support you in some of the themes that I feel are really most supportive for our family at this time of awakening and all the exciting and just wonderful things that we're moving through, but just giving you some guidance and some awareness and context of what's going on and ascension symptoms, and what to look out for, and how to identify when we're having traumatic response, dealing with our triggers, and just the greater context of what's happening at the moment in these coming years. So feel free to opt in for that. But other than that, that's everything that I wanted to share with you today, beloved family. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for staying all the way to the end with me. And I'm just so honored to be with you all today. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day in all that you do. And may you ripple out your light into your family, your community, your neighborhood, into all of the ways that you are embodying your highest expression at this time. And just keep simplifying, keep coming back to your breath and leaning into the trust. It's really so important that we trust right now and surrender. And I truly look forward to joining you all soon. And for now, I'm just sending you all of my love. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And see you next time. Bye for now, beautiful family.